All right, good afternoon. Today we're testing the Spec Precision Razor HD Gen 2 1x6x24. This is a second focal plane scope, meaning the reticle stays the same size no matter what you do the magnification. What we have is the mil-radian reticle inside of it. Some things it comes with is the scope caps, as well as elevation and windage cover caps that you can remove and put back on. With the scope caps, they're flip outs. It also comes with an anti-reflection device that you can mount to the front of the objective lens just by screwing it in. And then the objective lens cap. Alright, with that, the turrets are read in minute of angle. Although this is a mil-radian reticle, it gives you mil-radian increments of elevation and windage dialing, which is going to be in 0.2 mil-radian increments per dial. However, you'll have to memorize that if you plan on doing far holds, unless you can do the math to convert minute of angle so that way you can physically see it. But other than that, today we're going to zero it. We're going to run through some combat testing with it. We're going to test its durability. With that, we're shooting on a Daniel Defense AR-15 platform carbine using Spec Precision 30mm rings. And it comes with an illuminated reticle and as well as a diopter focus, which you do have to remove the scope cap to access. But once it's there, we recommend putting a paint pen mark across so you never lose it. Put the scope cap back on. All right, we're going to talk about the reticle here now. So as I mentioned earlier, it's a mil-radian reticle. This is etched glass. We ran a Tallman test and we can verify that this reticle is extremely accurate. Tallman test being measuring the increments of what a mil would be at X distance, and then from there measuring the reticle. So each line, what you see there, is equal to 1 mil distance. So you got four mils left and right. Obviously you can hold or dial more than that, and then you've got 6 mils coming down, which gives you plenty of room to hold out to distance, as well as being that second focal plane scope. What it does offer you with the reticle remaining the same size, as you get closer in distance, it gives you the ability to maintain the full scope of the reticle there. You can see it the entire time, so that way you have a good aiming point at closer distances. All right, talking about the turrets here, we have the elevation and windage turret. As you can see, windage turret's going to be on the right side as the shooter sees it. As you can see right here, each click on these turrets for both elevation and windage is going to equal 0.2 mil-radians. So 5 clicks get you 1 mil for either elevation or windage. Now the numbers that you see displayed on the actual turrets are in minutes. So as you can see, you're going to get 50 minutes in a full rotation of this elevation turret. All right, the final knob we have on this scope is going to be on the left side as the shooter sees it. For those of you that are used to long range shooting, this is not a parallax adjustment knob. This is actually purely the illuminated reticle knob. So with that, what it does is it has a locking feature, so that way you can continuously stay on the brightness setting of your choosing. It has 6 brightness settings and then an on and off setting in between. So as you can see here, the way that you're going to implement this is by pulling this out. You see it now says unlocked. You can twist in either direction, and at the top there's going to be a dot to signify that it's off, or move to the preferred brightness setting up to 6. So that way if you want to stay on 6, you can move it 1 down, push it back in, and now it's going to stay there. So if you need an illuminated reticle, pull out, push up once, lock it back in, and now your reticle is illuminated on the brightness feature of your choosing. One of the final features we'll be talking about the scope is going to be the magnification adjustment ring. So with that, as I mentioned previously, it's a 1x6 power scope. So you're at 6 power here and 1 power here. It's very easy to turn, feels very smooth. No scraping or anything like that. You can obviously buy aftermarket parts for a throw lever if you do so desire. And with that, as you're adjusting this, what we recommend is to throw it on 6 power when you're doing your diopter focus adjustments here in the back. This is going to be your only ability to focus this scope. There, as I mentioned earlier, there is no parallax adjustment, so you'll be making all your adjustments here. We mentioned paint pen marking, so that way you always maintain a good diopter focus, and we always recommend you go on 6 power. All right, what we're about to do now is conduct a zero of this rifle. So some benefits that we're talking about with the minute of angle adjustments on the turret is going to be, we're zeroing at 50 yards, meaning that each click is half a minute. which means it's going to be a 1/4 inch at 50 yards. So with that, it makes the adjustment super easy as you're looking through the reticle. And the process that we're going to actually do this is by dialing the elevation and windage turrets until we get onto our desired point of aim. From there, we're going to use an Allen key bit. We're going to remove the caps and essentially float them and put the 0 back in line with the up and right lettering here. And that way it's zeroed. You can put the scope caps back on and you can not touch them and use holds. But the benefit of not just leaving it where you adjusted it at is going to be that now you can keep track of how much you've dialed up without losing your 0. You can always return back to 0, and after that you can actually utilize this reticle to hold out the distance by dialing your come-ups and your windage adjustments. All right, this is our first initial group. From the bore sight, we were pretty on. As you can see, this is 6 shots, just around this drawn on pasty here, roughly 1 inch by 1 inch. And the goal here is